What I'm going to talk about today, I hope y'all enjoy the title, Don't Should All Over the Place, and the reference, the word is a word I hate, but the idea for the title came from an expression my mother used to use all the time, and I would call her Saint Anne. That's how I lovingly refer to her. But she used to say, Midge, don't should on yourself. And I thought, what does that mean? Well, I was one of those people who was like, I should have done this, I should have done that, and I would always beat myself up and say, don't should on yourself. Instead, next time I'll do this, next time I'll do that. Well, I realized recently, it kind of came to me that I've been shooting all over the place. My husband shouldn't have bought those water bottles. They leak. My Competent Communicator book is this wreck now because it was in my front seat of the car and I had the water bottle. It leaked all over because these leaky water bottles. Every time I see these water bottles, they leak. And every time I look at my husband, why did you buy the leaky water bottles? Poor man. Everything. My son was homesick the other day. Well, he should have washed his hands. I should have made him wash his hands. Why is he sick? I look back all the time. Should. I look at the world, We should not be having global warming. We shouldn't have all this violence. Our politicians should be able to converse and dialogue and make change that's effective. We should. And yet what does should get us? Should gets us mired down. How do we free that up? One of the things that's helped me most this year, I realize, I've actually come a long way. I think half of it is the awareness of the should. And realizing I'm not doing it as much. And I realized what's made that difference is something I came across probably last summer. And it was something called The Work by a writer named Byron Katie. And this is one of her books that outlines the process. It's called Loving What Is. And she has several principles and a process that really help lift your thinking and get you unstuck. Of course, underlying this is the reality that while we think our thoughts are controlling and driving our feelings and actions, who controls our thoughts? We do. So she has a process, a way of looking at things. First of all, right in line with the should, is don't argue with what is. What is. One of the definitions of stress, is when you argue with reality. In fact, mental illness is when we fight what is. What it is. So my son is sick this morning. It just is. Now what am I going to do about it? Instead of arguing constantly, let's just move forward. It is. Now let's go. What can I do about it? So the first thing is accepting what is. The second principle is there are three types of business. Your business, my business, God's business. Stay in your own business. Stay in my, I need to stay in my business. Get out of your business, because if I'm all up in your business, one, it's yours. It's your life. I can't do anything. I don't have control there. Two, who's taking care of my business? I'm busy over in your business. Nobody's worried about my stuff. I need to take care of me and let you take care of what's yours. And then there's God's business. And whatever faith orientation we have, it's those things that are out there. It is the global warming. It's the earthquakes. It's the tornadoes. All those things that I might lie awake and worry about. But I can't really do anything about it. Now, once it is, it is. I can't say that tornado shouldn't have happened. I can say it happened. Now, how do I respond? What do I do? Then we can do something. Or global warming. I can say, my interpretation is that it's being caused maybe by the carbon emissions. What can I do about that? So again, taking charge of what you can take charge of in your recognition of reality, but not shoulding and denying what is and not worrying about what might be. Next in this process, she's a four-step process. It's questions. She calls it inquiry, where we inquire into our thoughts. In the first one, we might take a thought. For instance, my husband doesn't listen. Actually, I'm going to use a different one. I'm going to use a little story here. The other night I went out, Tuesday night, I had a few minutes with my 11-year-old daughter, which I never get. I've got 3 kids. I never get time alone. And we had a mother-daughter book club, and then we went out and got coffee at this place called Delicious, and it's a wonderful bakery. And I walk up, and I'm eyeing the cupcakes. And then they have these wonderful slices of cake, and they had $1 off on a chocolate cake. I'm like, oh, I love chocolate cake. So I get the chocolate cake, saving money, and it's this big, honking piece of cake. And so I sit there and I'm like, oh, this is so good. And then, of course, halfway through I start thinking, I shouldn't eat this cake. It's going to make me fat, and da-da-da, it's bad for me. And so it starts to affect it. And so the thought here is, the cake is going to make me fat. Let's just say that. Is it true? Well, that could be true. It could be. Is it absolutely true? Question 2. Absolutely true. Well, no, because it's a treat. I don't eat like this all the time. I'm going to exercise tomorrow. Probably not. And the third question is, how do I react when I think this thought? Well, if I'm thinking that the cake's going to make me fat, I'm feeling guilty. I'm not really present. I'm not enjoying the moment. I'm worrying, stressing out about it. And who would I be if I didn't have this thought? Well, if I didn't have this thought, I'd be in the moment, enjoying it with my daughter, savoring the treat that I got, spent my good money on, although I saved $1, and then moving right on tomorrow, continuing my program with exercising and eating healthy. So I've lifted, just by taking and inquiring on that thought, I have lifted it and taken the guilt out of it, the should out of it, should not eat the cake, taken it out, and I've allowed this wonderful moment to be. And that's just a little example, but you think, I was reading one of the books I've read that's informed my thinking last week, a wonderful book about survivors of the Holocaust called Awake in the Dark. And I was just thinking, what if Hitler did not have the thought that Jews were basically inhuman and an inferior race? If he had inquired on that thought, if he weren't insane, the whole Holocaust could have been prevented. He could have ended up being, who could he have been without the thought? He could have ended up being a charismatic, dynamic leader who united a country and led them out of depression, rather than someone who exterminated 6 million Jews and tried to invade the world and cause a world war, just by inquiring the thinking. So, in conclusion, don't get mired in the should. Thank you.